Hello, folks, and welcome back to the channel. Again, like the last video, a solo video about a little bit on um, Luminar Neo getting out of the worst image. Norbert and I have been out today. It's Saturday. We have been out already 5:30. So I'm up since 5:30, and we're out since a little bit after 6 to catch a sunrise close to Bodersdorf. There are several observation platforms, and we've been on one of them trying to catch some sunlight. Also, maybe catch some of the birds, the cranes. Is it in English, the crane? Kann ich in German, is in English, yeah, crane. The cranes are migrating, but we did not see any of them. Already the hawks have been out, and the kestrels, and the harriers, and several other birds. We saw some deer and a lot of wildlife stuff, animals. But they were quite far away. So unfortunately, no good catch on camera, but we had some nice shots for the sunrise. Nevertheless, as I said in the last video, new series, the worst image. So let me share my screen. So, and this is one of the best bad images. So I really like the composition. That's what I saw. That's what I intended to do. The long shadows and the tree lines and the whole different colors in fall in Austria. This is Little Stinker Lake. That is one of the lakes that we are often discuss about. And there's another observation platform right around here behind the trees. And so this time we were a little bit farther to the north, and so sky, well, there were really some nice pastel colors. Follow us on our Facebook page, then you will see the good shots also as well. But this is one of the best bad shots that I have. So let's take a look. What is the raw data on that one? So I shot this with my Pentax camera with the K70 with the Sigma 10 to 20. Uh, Currently, I'm a little bit fixed on ISO 200, which seems to me a very good compromise for the things that I do on an aperture of 13 and 1/60th of a second. So the other ones are more saturated, but this one is the one that has a high area of the landscape here and a lower angle on the sky here. That's the reason why I picked it. So I really like the image, but unfortunately, it's not that good. So let's see what we can get out of it in the end. I also copy this one. How's that gonna work? Create virtual copy. Yes. So now we have two. Because I want to have one a little bit native manipulated. So with the curving and stuff like that. And the other one maybe working with some presets and then see what kind of difference we have. I'm gonna expect the highlights to be highly reduced. I expect, since I might be also one of the shots that I really had not watched my settings, so I expect the exposure to go down. The highlights are always going down. But do let's do a quick denoise. We can see this quite good here on the sky, I think. And my Pentax is a little bit outdated in the meantime, and so I often have to do a denoise here. That's very minute. You won't see it maybe on the video, but it's a little bit better. So, and then going back to, whoops, where is it? Huh? Folded. Develop, and then go to auto adjust. Okay, yeah, that's what I suspected. Exposure is a little bit down, and highlights are usually always down, way down. Okay, let's take a look. Oops, daisy. Yep, that's already a little bit more to my liking and brings out a little bit more of the colors. Let's see the curve that it did automatically. It reduced the dark quite a bit. I still tend to do, and this is just a preference, always remember I'm not a professional in that sense. That by trade, I have not learned to manipulate photos. I'm not a graphics designer. I'm just an ambitious hobbyist. And so you won't get learnings in a clinical sense, in a in a didactic sense. You just get my 2 cent how I would do it. And usually I crank down the darker ones a little bit more and crank the other side a little bit up. So you see, this brings more often the sky up, and on the other hand, brings the landscape a little bit more down. So how does that look? But anyways, it looks much better than before, in my opinion. Also, I like the high saturated reed there and the greener trees. So I think I'm quite happy with that. They usually don't use smart contrast here because we have the almighty enhance. Whoever comes up or came up with that algorithm is a genius. And usually I crank this up quite high because I like it high. Well, not that high. So usually I stick around, depending on the image itself, between 15 up to 35, something like that. So I like popping colors, and of course that's also subjective. What I've noticed is when you crank up the sky, it gets darker, but also comes much more pixelated. So usually I pop in a little bit darker blues, something like that, when you compare it to before and after, before and after. And you also noticed that it increased the brightness over here. So to me, this is really pure magic. I don't know what's the algorithm behind that, but I you usually get a lot of improvements with this slider. Another thing that I really like in such images, and of course didn't have a lot of haze, but we had pure golden hour, so not that much, but since it really was golden hour, I cranked this up quite a bit. And I like my greens a little more green, so I usually tend to crank up foliage as well. And this is also already a little bit more popping. And to keep it short, so usually I don't do fancy stuff like sun rays because actually I don't want them in my image. Twilight, we were not in twilight. Atmosphere, I don't want to introduce something that has not been here before anyways, in that sense. With this lens, often I have to remove some dust spots that are on my sensor and I can't get rid of it. I have swiped it, I think, for 4 times now, but somehow with some settings you can still see it. Structure, well, it's not a close up, it's a totale. I don't know how is the English word for this. A long shot, yeah. So since it's a long shot anyway, I am not so much keen on more structure because I think the image should speak for itself. And what I like there is all of those hay thingies and the grass thingies and different colors in the current landscape around Lake Neusiedl. Everything else, so sometimes mood, but I think it's not necessary in this one. And of course, that's not portrait, and I don't do a lot of artistic and creative stuff in that sense. So, what can we say about it? It's at least from going from there to this. Well, I like it definitely much better. So we had this one. Then let's try to do the same image with some presets. I have X membership with Luminar Neo since a few months, and for me it pays out. It depends on your things and your likings, what you want to do. Sometimes I use it sometimes for skies. Sometimes I buy or get some LUTs and some presets. And there I have seen some quite nice presets for greenish colors. New market arrivals, Connecticut autumn. I think that's marketplace. And I actually did not want to download new stuff. Is it included with X? Unfortunately, one can't filter here for skies and presets and stuff like that. So skies, presets, several of those I have. So anyways, let's look landscape, sunset, sunrise. So much of a difference. We'll see. Well, ooh, that's quite artistic, isn't it? Wow, Jesus, it's like a Wim Wenders movie. Hyperdrive, yes, burning down Earth. Impact. Well, for one shot, that's not too bad. Oh, Toscana. Oh, they already have a different sky. They also have a different sky. Well, that's funny. Nah, that's too spooky for me. So let's stick with this one. Maybe not all the way up. Let's take it like this and then go to edit. And then let's see how or what kind of stuff it introduced. So it introduced a lot afterwards. Of course, it does. I think it usually or often does denoise. What did develop do? Not that much. Structure. Okay, a little bit. Yes. Enhance. How far? Yeah, see, they also cranked it up to 39 and the sky to 12. Yep. And landscape, also funny. Oh, okay. They put also golden hour quite up. They don't like more green. Color harmony. Okay, I almost have never used this manually. Ha! What did it do? It didn't do anything. Did it? No. Strange. Details. What's happening there? Okay, in the background, they try and bring stuff up and sharpen. So I'd say in general, besides the LUT, is quite similar to mine. And I also quite like this one. Which one do I like better? I don't know. Let's see. Switch over here. That's my. Unfortunately, we can't do it side by side, right? And it takes always a little time to process it. Actually, I think. bringing up the details is more beneficial. Here, mine is a little bit softer. And on the other hand, I can't make out much differences. I think this is a little bit more crisp due to bringing out the details. I'm not sure about that. To me, it looks like that. Let's dig in a little bit deeper here. Okay, we have here this tree and we have this hay stack. And we do the same here. Yeah, this is a little bit softer. Well, come on, keep the view rate. I think this is a little bit more crisp. Maybe I even, in this case, like better the crispness towards my colors. I'm not sure. They're quite similar, in my opinion. It's very much in detail. Yeah, so also here, going back to the preset and comparing it to the original version, you see this one before, quite blunt, a lot of highlighting, and when you get it here, the shadows from the trees work really quite nice, and we have the different colors in the field that were, as I perceived it, actually really there. And so I think that was quite a good improvement. If I put it on a poster, I have to think about it. I don't know, but it's definitely a huge improvement. Yeah, I'm gonna close it down with that. So again, I hope this was a little bit of use to you. I hope you like this kind of new format. And if not, please leave us some constructive feedback in the comments. If you do like it, give us a like and maybe even shout out. And in case you don't want to miss any other videos, please hit the bell button and subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to us in terms of encouragement that we are in the right way and you actually like what we are doing. And so, in that said, I hope to see you next time on one of our videos on the channel, The Second Look. See ya, guys. Bye.